California and Nevada, slammed by flash flooding. Highways turn into rivers. Communities struggle in the dark. Barstow, California. What began as an ordinary late summer afternoon in the Mojave Desert turned into a nightmare of mud, water, and stranded motorists as a sudden wall of rain swept across San Bernardino County on Tuesday. State Route 247, a lifeline that cuts through the desert, connecting Lucerne Valley with Barstow, collapsed under the weight of rushing floodwaters at Charo Road, near the well-known off-road stop /X Ranch Cafe. By nightfall, the highway was completely shut down in both directions, vehicles abandoned along the roadside like shipwrecks on a drowned plane. Just as California drivers grappled with the chaos, Nevada faced its own battle against water. The city of Sparks, just east of Reno, was hammered by torrential downpours that turned major intersections into impassable lakes. On C Street, cars floated sideways as the current forced them toward storefronts. The intersection of Pyramid Way and Interstate 80 resembled a swirling whirlpool of headlights and taillights as traffic ground to a halt. Stanford Way by the Sinclair station became a funnel of mud, and Victorian Avenue, usually alive with nightlife, was left submerged beneath several feet of fast-moving water. The storms, fueled by a surge of monsoonal moisture colliding with a stalled low-pressure system, showed no mercy across state lines. From desert highways to urban boulevards, the floods caught thousands off guard. Around 2:30 p.m., the first reports came in to the California Highway Patrol. Drivers heading north from Lucerne Valley noticed dark thunderheads stacking above the horizon. By the time they reached Charo Road, just south of the /X off-road bar and cafe, the skies opened. Water cascaded across the desert floor, carving channels through the sand and pouring onto the asphalt in muddy torrents. Within minutes, State Route 247, normally bone dry, shimmering with heat, was transformed into a rushing river. Motorists who tried to push forward found themselves quickly overwhelmed. Pickup trucks stalled as water rose to their doors. A small sedan was seen drifting sideways before the driver scrambled out onto the roof. /X, a desert landmark popular with off-roaders, became an unexpected refuge. Owner Julie Sandoval rushed outside when she saw headlights blinking frantically through the storm. "I knew right away people were in trouble," she said. "The water was moving so fast, it was like the desert just gave way. We had folks running in here soaked to the bone, shaking. Some of them just barely made it out of their cars." By 4 p.m., San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies had closed the highway entirely. Caltrans crews arrived, but could do little beyond placing barricades.
People can't see when you do it that fast.
The roadbed itself had been eroded in several sections with deep gullies cutting through the asphalt. Flash flooding had turned dry washes into violent rivers, and water continued to pour across the highway long after the rain stopped falling. For drivers, the closure was more than an inconvenience. It was a matter of survival. Dozens of vehicles were stranded between Barstow and Lucerne Valley, some perched on high ground, others mired in mud. Rescue crews deployed high-clearance trucks and even considered calling in helicopters as reports trickled in of people trapped in their cars. "It happened so fast, you wouldn't believe it," said Miguel Hernandez, a truck driver hauling equipment to Apple Valley. "One second it was raining hard. The next second, it was like someone dumped a whole lake onto the road. I had to gun it just to get to a little rise by Charo. Now I'm stuck here with 10 other cars. There's no way out." Inside/X, travelers huddled together, swapping stories and watching the rain beat down on the desert floor. Some used cell phones to call family, though service was spotty. Others simply stared at the brown, churning water swallowing the road outside. For long-time residents, the storm carried an eerie sense of déjà vu.
It's like instantly flooded.
In 2017, flash flooding also struck the area, washing out parts of Highway 247 and leaving motorists stranded. But locals insisted Tuesday's storm was worse, more sudden, more violent, and more destructive. The Mojave Desert has always carried a paradox. To the untrained eye, it seems barren, incapable of sustaining water. Yet beneath its sandy washes lie channels carved by centuries of seasonal monsoon storms. When the skies do open, the desert does not forgive. People forget this is flash flood country, said Deputy Mark Ruiz of the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office. "It doesn't matter if it hasn't rained for months. When it comes all at once. We had water moving across that highway faster than most people could run. Even as the rain tapered off, the danger lingered. Runoff from the surrounding hills continued to pour down into the low-lying areas around Charo Road, feeding the temporary rivers that cut across SR 247. By nightfall, county officials warned that the closure would likely last well into Wednesday, if not longer. Travelers were urged to stay away from the area. Detours stretched for dozens of miles across remote desert roads, many of them barely wide enough for 2 vehicles. For Barstow, a city already familiar with the disruptions of I-15 closures due to storms and accidents, the flooding of SR 247 added another headache to an already fragile desert infrastructure.